Kanye West is a master of his public image and he is forever aware of it. He's been through so many eras, it's literally unbelievable. And he's the king of reinventing himself. I think because he's been able to reinvent himself so many times, that's allowed him to stay so relevant in music because he's always giving his fans surprises and he's good at, keeping you interested in, what he's going to do next. So this video is going to be talking about Rule 25 from the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. And Law 25 is always recreate yourself. So we're going to be talking about how Kanye West recreates himself time and time again after every album, how he does it successfully, and we're just going to analyze how Kanye is able to use that law so effectively. Hi, my name is Bolaji. I'm a creative marketing consultant, and this is Bolaji Inc. Welcome! In this channel, we talk about everything to do with pop culture and the marketing campaigns we use, but this video in particular is part of a series called the 48 Laws of Power series. In this series, we talk about people in pop culture and how they've been able to apply or not apply the laws from these books. A bit of background about me: I've worked with every type of person possible: healthcare, musicians, tech, dating apps, and I help them think of creative marketing campaigns. So this is really my bread and butter and it's what I'm interested in. So without further ado, let's take a deep dive into Kanye West and the many faces and errors he has had. So before we start, I'm going to read to you a small little snippet of what this law is really about so you can understand my thinking here for why Kanye reinvents himself. Do not accept the roles that society foists on you. Recreate yourself by forging a new identity, one that commands attention and never bores the audience. Be the master of your own image rather than letting people define it for you. Incorporate dramatic devices into your public gestures and actions. Your power will be enhanced and your character will seem larger than life. Does that sound like Kanye? That sound like Kanye. All right, let's get into his errors. Number one, the college dropout. That was his Through the Wire era. Obviously, he had a car crash. He was really fighting hard to make it in his music career. He was signed, but they were not allowing him to rap at the time. If anybody's watched that Genius documentary, then you would know exactly what I'm talking about. The era was all about self-empowerment and self-reflection and also being the underdog and coming out on top. It was a very raw Kanye. Like, I think Kanye at his rawest and most hungry. Obviously, he had a lot to prove. We didn't really get to see much of that Kanye really in the main stage because that was when he was just breaking out. But he was able to kind of capitalize off of that era now by releasing that Genius documentary. So the guy is very smart. I like how he thinks. So moving on to Late Registration, which was 2005. That was outspoken Kanye, controversial Kanye.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Polarizing Kanye. That was freedom fighter Kanye. And he also received a Grammy during this time, so I think he was even more vindicated after all the hard work he had done in the college dropout era. Moving on to Graduation, the final piece of the Education trilogy. That was the mascot vibes. Think of the teddy bear, Kanye, polo, pink shirt. He had the stripy glasses. Do you know what I mean? That era. And that's when we get the songs like Stronger, Good Life, Flashing Lights. We're starting to see those kind of club anthems come out. In that time as well, Kanye West and 50 Cent had a sales battle. Like, I didn't know. Like, Kanye's actually been in a lot of sales battles. And yeah, Kanye West won. Moving on to 808 and Heartbreaks, right? Pivotal change in tone and sound. Okay, his mum had just passed away, so he was incredibly affected by that. The change of music was seen. You could see heavy use of auto-tune in his music, more electronic sounds. He collaborated with Kid Cudi during that time, so a lot more darker. He was singing in a distinctively depressive tone, and he just spoke on feelings of feeling disconnected. Visuals to match the mood of what he was feeling at that time. Think of like the Heartbreaker video. It was kind of like very forward-thinking, very electronic, very out of this world in a way. And overall, it was such a vulnerable album. Like, I really love 808 and Heartbreaks. Kanye just had a cleaner look. It was a more solemn Kanye. It was a mourning Kanye. And this was like kind of his mourning era. My standout songs are Say You Will, Heartless, Amazing, and Streetlights. I love those songs. Moving on to my beautiful, dark, twisted fantasy. Pause. I just wanted to say that this video is sponsored by me, Bolaji Inc. If you like videos like this, talking about people in pop culture and the marketing stunts they have used, then you would love my channel. So give me a subscribe, give me a little thumbs up, because a thumbs up actually do something, okay? And also, if you want to have a consultation with me to think of a creative marketing campaign for your brand, you hit the link in my description. We're going to talk about it, okay? Okay, back to the video. My beautiful, dark, twisted fantasy. So that is 2009 MTV Awards, Kanye West, Taylor incident, Kanye, okay? That's that era.
I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time.
That's Amber Rose Hennessy bottle era. He started to become very much more interested in fashion, like actually now like really wanting to collaborate and doing stuff like that. I think the era around that time was that he had to make good music to redeem himself because of all the kind of controversial things he did. And he definitely did that with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, because that album was amazing. His videos became iconic and you really see a shift in the mastery of his music videos. I mean, think about the Runaway video with the ballet and the art and the piano. And you can kind of definitely see the more European influence of his art at that time. I think during that time as well, he went to live in Japan and Rome during the times where he was creating the music. So that's why you can kind of see the influence of the fashion world in his music and his videos. This was definitely like a different and more drastic change to the 808 era. You kind of see he's more bolder, he's more out there, he's more outgoing. He don't give a fuck. This is a black man. Standout songs from that album: Power, All of the Lights, Monster. Shout out to my girl, Nicki. Moving on to Watch the Throne era, joint album with Jay-Z. This was the Niggas in Paris era. To me, that was like the introduction or reintroduction of luxury rap towards hip hop. It was focused on art, history, being black in America, and there was a lot of American imagery used to promote the project. From the music videos to the tour design, everything. It's like the black American dream that they were trying to force. So it was like that era of like luxury. Kanye during that time released one of his first fashion lines, and he was now starting to be very influential. I mean, Kanye's been very influential within fashion, but like you really see his stamp. Like the stuff that he's wearing goes viral. Everyone is trying to wear it. Everyone's trying to copy him. I remember when the Red Octobers came out, that was a cultural shift. That was crazy. I'll never forget that. Yeah, I wanted the Red Octobers. I didn't even know nothing. I don't even care about sneakers like at all. Notable songs from that album is Otis, Murder to Excellence, and Who's Gonna Stop Me Now? Because who's gonna stop me? No one. Moving on to Yeezus. That is Glitter Mask era. Very polarizing era for him. I think him calling himself Yeezus, that was a whole nother thing. That was a whole nother issue at the time. This was his You Ain't Got the Answers Sway era. You guys remember that? That was so funny. You kind of see the real shift in like the dark tone that he gets into with Yeezus. Like a lot of it is like silvery imagery, aggressive sounds. Obviously at the time, way ahead of its time. And the mood was made very clear. Like you don't fuck with Kanye, okay? That was a time where he was complaining about not being accepted by high fashion brands into the fashion industry, doing a lot of complaining. And he also started to date Kim K during this time. That's when we got Bound to, that beautiful video. Moving on to The Life of Pablo. That was when his first daughter, North, was born. So definitely a huge change in his life and a huge shift in his music as well. The Life of Pablo was such a good album. And that era was such a good era, but it was 2016. So that makes sense. Like so many good things happened in 2016. Remember that time where he was like in Madison Square Garden and he played that song like Beautiful Morning in the sun in the morning, babe. And like everybody went crazy. Like that was such a good time. That was like a fun era of Kanye's life. Like people were just loving him. He could do no wrong. Like everything was great about him. And it was like a combination of all his previous sounds. It wasn't really an experimental album. It was actually just like a Kanye album, basically. He started to kind of get into his Christian energy like a bit more. Remember Ultralight Beam? Like you see he's starting to take that turn. Next, Jesus is King. Pastor Kanye era. Gandhi era. A stark contrast to his other eras, I must say. Like he went completely left. He's Pastor Kanye. He became a born again Christian. He always did have like Christian or religious kind of elements in his music anyway. He always spoke about God. He always had choirs and backgrounds and very orchestral types of sounds in his music. Jesus is King was kind of like a natural progression. I think it might have been a bit off. This era of Kanye was to kind of clean up his image after a lot of things he'd been doing in his personal life. He was having a lot of nervous breakdowns, but now he's like, I found my higher calling, which is Jesus Christ. So you can forgive me of all my wrongdoings. And so now we get to today's era of Kanye, which is the Donda era. This is when Donda's released. He does a competition with Drake, and there's that whole STEM player situation, listening parties in stadiums. I think the Glitter Mask again. This is his album to honor his mother, which is really full circle actually. I think it's really lovely. 27 songs. I didn't finish the album, I can't lie. This is when Kanye is deciding to run for president, doing a lot of Twitter rants. He was sectioned. It was a lot. So we're now going to talk about how this relates to the 48 Laws of Power, Law 25, always recreate yourself. There's quite clearly a link between power and theatre. And I think the more dramatic you are, the more you're able to command attention, the more that people look at you, the more that you can influence people, the more powerful you are, okay? If you didn't know that, I'm telling you. And so he is very good at incorporating surprise into like his his everyday life, the things he does with his music, and also building drama through his social life, his family, his friends, attacking random people. With every album you have seen, Kanye West has been able to create a persona to match the album, and he tweaks and edits it to match the time and the era that we're in, and in an indirect way express his mood, his thinking, what is on his mind, just through the way he dresses and his actions and the things he does. I'm gonna read a quote from the book. Understand this. The world wants to assign you a role in life, and once you accept that role, you are doomed. Your power is limited to the tiny amount allotted to you to the role you have selected or have been forced to assume. An actor, on the other hand, plays many roles. Learn to forge a new identity, one of your own making, one that has no boundaries assigned to it by its envious and resentful world. It makes you responsible for your own creation. And so really that's kind of just what I wanted to drive home. Like, you can be anything you want, and don't allow anybody to make you feel like you are this person because you were born somewhere, you grew up somewhere. Like, people evolve and people change, and Kanye West is an amazing example on a huge scale of how recreating yourself can bring benefits, because honestly Kanye's done so many controversial stuff, but all he has to do is just change his persona, change his character, and people will forgive him. Like, it's really the truth. And so it can actually be very impactful and give you a lot of power by always changing yourself up. Today you might decide you want to be a rapper. Tomorrow you might decide you want to be an architect. No one should be able to tell you what you are. Just recreate yourself. People might have said to you, you're always clumsy, you're always this. Bitch, that was the last character that I played. This character now, she ain't like that at all. Okay? That's what you need to tell yourself. Kanye West understands that the creation of a memorable character will be one that commands attention over the long term, or at least the term that he wants to promote his album for. That allows him to stand out above many other players within the music industry. And he is literally one of the most famous rappers in the world, if not the most famous rapper in the world. And I think he really has done that by recreating himself so many times. It allows Kanye West to seem fresh in our minds. The guy is like literally 45 going on 50 or whatever, but he gives off a young era because he's always changing. He's always doing something new. Yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you were able to understand in a more visual way how this law can be applied and how you can also apply it if you wanted to as well. You don't need to be a rapper. You could be a normal person. Like, I'm always reinventing myself. Like, literally 2 months ago, I was not a YouTuber. Now I'm a YouTuber who reads out of books. Like, so yes, if you guys want to see more videos, definitely like this video. And if you want to have a consultation with me, book the link in my bio. Videos every Monday, guys. Make sure you check out my video about Kim Kardashian and how she uses storytelling to really like get the people going. You know what I mean? Like, her story is good. It's kind of like a Marvel movie, so you will like that. So go check it out. See you guys later. Bye. Mwah.